When you think of Star Wars ships, the usual suspects come up. The X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, Star Destroyers, Republic gunships, but the galaxy is packed with so many more ships that are unique and bizarre that some fans may not have ever heard of. So in this video, we're going to go through 15 of the most obscure Star Wars ships ever created between Legends and Canon, and who knows, maybe this will help you spit some more Star Wars lore the next time you're talking about it with some friends or family. The first ship we're going to look at is the WR-542 Shooting Star. This ship stands at 35 meters long, and it was built by the CNR Fleet Systems before the Galactic Civil War. What makes this ship so unique is the speed. It can travel at 1,200 kilometers per hour, and with the shape, it almost looked like a shooting star, hence getting the nickname Shooting Star. The crew is extremely small, of just one person, but it can carry up to 3 passengers, and while it's small, it does pack a punch with some good firepower. The production of the ship ended near the Battle of Endor, as the Empire inevitably had no use for it. Next up, we have another ship from Star Wars Legends with the Taiwing. Essentially, if a TIE Fighter and Y-Wing were to have a kid, this is what it would look like. And it's pretty ugly, isn't it? While ugly, it did serve a purpose, as it's quicker than your Y-Wing and slightly better firepower than your TIE Fighter, but while it has its pros, the cons are the same as both of its parents' ships. It's fragile and has an awkward thrust distribution. Many pilots hated this vehicle and gave it the nickname of Die-Wing. But funny enough, this was oftentimes found to be used by pirates and smugglers around the galaxy. Going 3 for 3 with Legends ships, we have the Telicon Vagabond. Hopefully I am pronouncing that right. And this was a staggering 1,500 meters long, created by the Quela House to give a home to their species, while their homeworld of Brath Quela got hit with a sudden ice age. The ultimate goal was to eventually return to their homeworld and use the ship as an energy beam to thaw out the planet. Some cool history is that Lando Calrissian, Lobot, R2-D2, and C-3PO all managed to board the Vagabond in 17 ABY, or after the Battle of Yavin, in a mission to capture it. One of the coolest vehicles has to be the TIE Crawler, also known as the Sentry Tank. It was a TIE cockpit between 2 tank treads. This can move up to speeds of 90 kilometers per hour, or 55 miles per hour, and my best memory of the set is with the LEGO version released in 2007. Unlike a ship, it was controlled with foot controls like pedals to adjust the steering and speed. The hand controls were integrated within the weapon systems, and speaking of weapons, the blasters on the front were where you'd find them on a regular TIE Fighter cockpit. The purpose was for planetary assaults on urban combat, and these were seen after the Battle of Endor, while some were in action during the early stages of the Galactic Civil War. Like most Imperial ships and vehicles, this wasn't too expensive for the Empire to mass produce. The Tempest Zero starfighter in canon was a starfighter utilized by the Tofen's Raiders, and they're a group of pilots from the planet Valhari. This is by far one of the most niche ships in Star Wars, and the only references to it or source material are in the Rise of the Separatist book and the Clone Wars 10 comic, so not a whole lot of information on it, but it does look cool. The Gitrog 720 Life Raider has the nickname Sea Turtle for its unique large round shape. This is a freighter produced by the Gitrog Industries, who were competing with the Corellian Engineering Corporation as they produced the Millennium Falcon and the Ghost. While the ship looked good from the outside, it still had plenty of flaws which made potential buyers no longer interested. The most notable issue is the single turret mounted with twin laser cannons. So not a whole lot of firepower, unlike the ships that the Corellian Engineering Corporation were making. While someone would find the purpose for the ship, if it were up to me, I'd stick with buying from the Corellian Engineering Corporation for my freighter. And in terms of cost, getting a new one of these would cost you about 98,500 credits, but if you want one used, you could get one as cheap as 23,000 credits. The TIE D automated starfighter is easily one of the most unique variants in history, but was it worth it? Costing roughly 170,000 credits, this came with twin ion engines and laser cannons, equipped with armor plating and these weird rectangular patterned wings. This could reach immense speeds, but when you think of a TIE ship, you think of TIE pilots, and these were piloted by droids. To be exact, it was a Cybok Galactic Ace 6 droid brain which would pilot them. This would help save money on training pilots for battle, which, as we know, the Empire wanted to cut as many corners as they could. The TIE D would find itself in battle versus V-Wings and E-Wings. They'd have the advantage as they'd swarm into combat in large fleets. Overall, it was a cool ship, but I'd still prefer a TIE Advanced or Defender over this model. And speaking of variants of ships, when you hear Star Destroyer, usually you would think of a Star Destroyer, Super Star Destroyer, or Executor Super Star Destroyer. But the Tector class Star Destroyer might not be on your bingo card. The key differences with this are it lacks a ventral hangar bay, making a sacrifice of capacity in order to allow a lot more armor. It was an assault ship and used for bombardments. The increase in armor gave it a more bulky, tank-like appearance, which is what the Empire wanted in terms of striking fear into opponents. A fun fact is that the first appearance was in the background of Return of the Jedi, as it wasn't a known ship at the time. All these years later, we finally have an official name for it. The YM-2800 Limpet ship honestly might be the coolest one yet. A mining vessel that could attach itself to the surface of any planet or asteroid and proceed to use plasma cutters to cut through the surface sounds pretty neat to me. Eventually, the Rebel Alliance figured that they'd use these to board enemy ships, which made it a multi-purpose ship, and they were first used in the Battle of Perlipolo, and later on Luke Skywalker would take one of these to rescue Janek Sunbur from the Empire. At the time of recording this video, Avengers Doomsday is coming out later this year, so why not talk about the Doomgiver? It was a one-of-a-kind Star Destroyer at just about the same size of the Executor Star Destroyer. It was driven by 6 engines in bunches of 3. A little bit of history with the ship is that it was commanded by Admiral Gaelic Fayar, and it was used to transport Dark Jedi and Shadow Troopers. One story is that they were on their way to Yavin to destroy the Jedi Praxium, and this wouldn't happen as Kyle Katarn would sabotage the ship, getting on board of it, and going to the shield generator to destroy it. Thanks to these efforts, the Doomgiver was destroyed, and members on board were either taken out with the ship or they were captured. The Action 4 is a ship with no weapons or defense shields, but it had the ability to be upgraded. It included 2 levels with 2 escape pods on the lower level, and the upper level had more of a cargo bay feel to it. The crew was 8 members large and can hold up to 75,000 metric tons. The Action 4 transport, Azure Queen, was captured by the Black Sun Pirates while going to Rutan. The Braha Tak class gunship was seen in Return of the Jedi and Rogue One. It is a very weird shape to it, to say the least, with many angles and sizes no matter where you look. Full of weapons, they were said to be powerful for the size, and that's what they wanted. They were designed to be an anti-starfighter platform and screening vessel, while they were also used to help defend larger ships. The ship was seen in many battles, going up against Thrawn while fighting alongside the Phoenix Cell, and also as a member of the Battle of Scarif. During the Galactic Civil War, one of the variants of this ship, called the Promise, was an escort vehicle to the CR-90 Corvette Thunderstrike. It was cool to see how versatile this ship is, and I hope we can see it again. The Insys Crawlcraft, I hope I said that right, was created by the Chiss, who were the same species as Grand Admiral Thrawn, and they combined the TIE technology with their own flair to create this masterpiece. It looks like an altered TIE Defender, but using curves, not triangles. The Crawlcraft fighters were produced before the alliance between the Emperor and the Chiss, but once the alliance was formed, this ship would be created. By 19 ABY, these were up and flying, and by 25 ABY, revealed to a wider range around the galaxy. While highly unlikely, I'd love to see these appear in the Ahsoka series. I'm not sure how they'd incorporate them, but I think it would be really cool to get a look at them in live action. The YV-929 arm freighter is a 22-meter freighter, and yet again, another ship produced by the Corellian Engineering Corporation. Man, they did a lot, and they were working 24/7. This came with very little weapon support, but it was designed with heavy armor to defend against anyone like pirates or anyone who wanted to take over the ship. Funny enough, the same groups of people who would attack these ships would also be seen flying them around on their free time. It got the nickname the Flying Brick because of its shape, and well, it obviously looks like a brick. And to add on to that, the Empire would fine the CEC, or the Corellian Engineering Corporation, for selling these to third parties such as the Rebel Alliance. Last, but certainly not least, is the Sun Gem. This was a Delta-class starship for the Jedi Master Arca Jeth during the Great Sith War. This was a modified ship, allowing it to have a lightsaber training or practice area along with a meditation chamber, and it also held some Jedi texts. It was very advanced and allowed for Jeth to have and train his 3 apprentices. Now you might be wondering how a Jedi could have 3 apprentices, and this was long before the rule of having only 1 apprentice was a thing, so this is a much different time period than we are used to for the prequel movies and the Clone Wars. This ship would cost around 85,000 credits to make new, and it had weapons of torpedoes and other blasters. While we touched on a lot of unique and niche ships, I definitely learned a lot from this, and there are hundreds upon hundreds more of ships that I probably have never even heard of still out there. So let me know what you think about this, and what your favorite niche ships around Star Wars are, and what other ships, vehicles, characters, topics you would like to hear me cover. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more content around the galaxy, and I'll see you in the next one.